I wanted to do a video just purely on product restrictions. It is the most common question I get from a support perspective on how to configure product restrictions. Um, Frankly, most of the time the questions I get are, how come product X is not on my website? It's either that or somebody comes in and makes a change that results in them accidentally removing a lot of products from the site. So, in order to help you all kind of understand how it currently works, I wanted to do this video. I'm also looking for feedback on how I can make it more intuitive, because I clearly have a user experience problem here due to all the support questions that I do get. But let's try and explain how product restrictions work in Cockpit today. So there's different areas where you can set product restrictions. This product restrictions tab, this main tab, works across all of your distributors. So this is like your primary filter where you can include specific products or exclude specific products. Now, the way Cockpit works is that all products are included by default. So you can see currently I have these series of includes and exclude filters, but if I literally removed every single filter on my site, removed everything, so these were all blank, that means all products will now be fed into the system. Now, we definitely don't recommend doing that because all products can mean a lot of junk. You end up selling like socks and flip-flops from different distributors, things that no reasonable customer would not go to Amazon.com for that product and get it cheaper the next day shipping. So that's why we have product restrictions. It allows you to fine-tune things that you want to include on your site or things that you want to exclude on your site. So again, leaving these filters blank means that there's no filters, all products are flowing through. But if you wanted to include specific products or types of products, say you're a fishing store or a store just focused on ammunition or a store just focused on firearms, that's where you can use these filters to make those changes happen. So the includes, and I highlight here of the red, so anything you add to the include will be the only product that you list on the site. So if I go in here and say I want to include firearms, that means firearms is going to be the only thing included on your site. I selected firearm parts by accident. If I selected firearms would be the only thing included on your site with this configuration at this point in time. Now, if you come back and say, I want to add a category, I want to add, say, what else do I want to? I want to add a scopes. So let me do red dots. Here, I'm going to do red dot sites. So I want to add red dot sites. Now, this is the common problem that happens. Somebody sees something that may not be on their site. They come in here and say, okay, I want to include them. But what is actually happening here is Cockpit will only include firearms, products that are within the firearm product class and within a red dot category, which basically means you will have no products listed on your site. That's how this works. You see these and or controls? These are clickable. So if you click on or, that basically now means I want to list firearms, any product that matches firearms or red dot sites. So that would include both. But when these are in the and condition, that means it's using both of these to calculate and determine what products are listed on your site. So this is the common problem. Somebody is looking for maybe a specific UPC. They have their filter set in place and say, okay, well, I want to include a specific UPC. So I want to type in that UPC here, and I'm going to include that on the site now. Well, no, you're not, because now you're basically going to remove all the products except for that one UPC, because that, if this is a firearm, that's the only product that matches both that UPC and being in the product class of firearms. So that's how that works. So typically, again, everything would be included with no filters in place. Our default configuration has a list of categories, a bunch of listed categories, firearms and other things. So what's that saying? It's going to include products that are within these categories. Now you can hit the select and change additional categories that you want. But if you do add includes to any of these other items, be careful and know that it's going to evaluate the condition of both categories and brands if you add a brand, for example. Now certain folks, maybe they only want to sell high-end products, so they would select specific brands. I'm not saying these brands are high-end by any means, but pretend that they are. So they would select these list of brands, and again, it's going to say products that match both these brands and these categories, and it'll list those products. So I think that's one thing I wanted to show. The other thing I wanted to touch on is that this is not the only place for product restrictions. So if you're researching why a product may not be listed on your site, the first spot is to check the product restrictions tab here. But the second spot to check is within each of your distributors. Each of your distributors also has a custom product restrictions, which allows you to refine what product you want to pull in from each distributor. So if I look at Lipsy's, for example, click on the configure link and scroll down here, there's a Lipsy's product restrictions section. Now some of the settings that are in here, you have the ability to list only products eligible for dropshipping. That can be toggled on or off. You can also refine what products you want to include from Lipsy's or exclude. In this case, this configuration is pulling in all product from Lipsy's that meet what was on the product restrictions tab that we talked about earlier, because that's the first filter. It passes through that filter, so all those products will pass through and list from Lipsy's, except for Browning. So we're not going to list Browning brand from Lipsy's specifically on the website. So second spot to check if something is not on your site is to look into each of the distributors, make sure that the dropshipping toggle is set appropriately to what you want. If you want to list Glocks or FNs or all those brands that are traditionally blocked for dropshipping, you're going to want to turn this off. And then you're also going to want to review and make sure that there's nothing in here that is restricting the product that you're looking to list on your site. Now the third set of product restrictions that exist are in the Targets tab. So in the Targets tab, each of these targets has a way to restrict products to go to each of these systems. So for example, in Gunbroker, I only send firearms to Gunbroker. So if I scroll down and look at my Gunbroker settings, there's a product restriction setting here. And here you can see I'm only including firearms to my Gunbroker feed. And I'm also excluding these brands. And these brands are excluded because they are not allowed on third-party marketplaces like Gunbroker. You can't sell those products. So that's why those are there. They're still listed on my website, but they're not fed through Gunbroker. So just like Gunbroker, your WooCommerce website also has a product restrictions. So this would be the final place I would check to see if there's anything specifically within the WooCommerce product restrictions that may not be passing that product through that you're looking for. But those are the main spots to look for product restrictions. The other thing I wanted to show you was related to the new search field. I want to refresh my screen here so I don't save all those changes that I made. In the search field, if you're looking for a specific product or UPC, like say I'm looking for a Cimarron rifle or something, I can do that. Pull up all the Cimarron rifles. And this feature now has the ability to see if the product's on your website or not. If it's on your website, it'll show up here as a website link, and that'll bring you to the website. You can also see products that may not be on your website. And the reason why these may not be on their website is because the quantity is 0 over here. we won't pull in product that has 0 quantities. Or it may not be, this UPC may be available from 5 different distributors, but we're only going to list one of those products on your website based on the lowest overall cost. So that's why you may see products that don't have a website link, is because another version from another distributor is actually listed on your site, and that's what will have the website link next to it. The thing I wanted to add on here on this product search tab is that if you can search for and find a product in this list, and if the item is in stock, you can actually use a filter here for in stock. So if I put in space stock in my filter, separated by commas, and if you see the product within this list, then by all means it should be listed on your website. If it's not, then it's likely not a product restriction issue and likely something else. Now if you click on this ignore product restrictions and then do another search and then you find the product that you were looking for, then in that case it is likely your product restrictions that is causing the product not to be listed on your site. I think I covered everything I wanted to in this video. I may put out a different version of this video at some point, but I wanted to get something out there to help you all out. Hopefully this helps. I will put this in the Help Center, so you'll be able to see this along with our other videos on how to do certain things and get an overview of Cockpit. So thank you all.